2024. Drum roll, please. Oh, am I supposed to do this? Maybe this.
Richmond Arts Services is guided by Artworks, Richmond Arts Strategy, which envisions an art scene that animates our city every day, offers rich arts education and experiences, festivals and events, fosters social connections and wellness, builds arts and culture leadership, and provides creative spaces.
By connecting highlights from 2024 with the 5 strategic directions of the art strategy, this video will illustrate how art works in Richmond.
Programs at the Richmond Cultural Center and the new Cultural Center Annex provide affordable, high-quality arts education, free public activities such as the Children's Arts Festival, and community access to creative spaces.
In the newly expanded Media Lab this year, a record 69 members of the free Richmond Youth Media Program learned media art skills while building community connections. They also launched new programs like a regular open mic night.
Richmond offers a wide variety of classes and opportunities for community groups, including newcomers, to grow programs such as Chinese brush painting, K-pop, and classical Chinese dance.
Annually, the Cultural Center presents the Black History Month exhibition, Artful Pride Week programming, and hands-on activities for National Indigenous Peoples Day.
The Arts and Culture Grants Program invested more than $127,000 to 21 nonprofit arts organizations this year, including the Richmond Arts Coalition, which now boasts a storefront location in the new Cultural Center Annex.
Year-round, local artists access free professional development through knowledge-sharing workshops, guest speakers, and networking opportunities, such as the Richmond Art Gallery's Artist Salon.
The gallery's 2024 exhibitions attracted more than 18,000 visits to a wide range of exhibitions, including Foodways, featuring works by 11 artists, a display at the City Archives, and a popular series of hands-on summer workshops.
Richmond's festivals showcased local artists at the Steveston Salmon Festival, Cherry Blossom Festival, and Maritime Festival.
And Culture Days, with 80 artists and organizations presenting 93 free activities, was named the #1 community in BC, ranking 3rd nationally for mid-sized cities.
The year saw many new murals at schools, trail washrooms, and beyond through the Community Mural Program.
Seasons of Color by Richmond's Laura Kwok encircles the new Cultural Center Annex with a lively design informed through community engagement.
Another 17 Richmond artists received public art commissions for display along No. 3 Road, as well as utility boxes found throughout the city.
The Richmond Art Strategy guides decision-making to empower ideas, people, and resources around a shared vision led by the guiding principles of excellence,
Sustainability,
creativity,
accessibility,
inclusivity,
community building,
and celebration. The arts help us to achieve community goals in economic development, health, and well-being as we connect and celebrate our richly diverse and multifaceted community.
Thank you. So any questions?
Good, yeah.
Yes. Andy?
Thanks, and through the chair. Again, thanks for the report, and the video was outstanding. Just 2 quick questions. There's so many good things in the report, actually, and so many significant events and kind of milestones within it. It's kind of impressive, again. But just one quick one with the Media Lab and the youth participation in it, but other groups, I just wondered, like, how many groups are participating in that? What's the capacity of the lab? Is it already, up to or, exceeding its real limitations? If you just comment quickly on that, and then I had one other question.
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs. Well, there's many different groups. We do our own registered programs for starters. So we do classes in media arts education for adults and youth. Of course, there's the Richmond Youth Media Program, also known as RIMP. That's a referral-based youth program for ages 13 to 24. Now, they've just added new drop-ins, new creative space activities. You saw the mic drop, so there's lots going on there. Youth outreach workers also work with community partners. So they're working with youth groups that may be involved with, say, Richmond Addiction Services, School District 38, Touchstone Family Services, and other community center associations. And they've even partnered with the Senior Center at the Minute Roof Center for Active Living. So lots of different groups, lots of different users of the space. We're so blessed with this huge space. Very well subscribed RIMP is, but we can always, we're always looking forward to inviting more members. So I wouldn't say we've reached our capacity yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And just one last question. When you look at the plan, the 5 years is up, 2019 to 2024. And so I know in the report it talks about, examining the strategic directions and the plan itself. But when I read it, and having gone through a few strategic plan, sessions and actual development of plans, sometimes when a plan is working, it's not necessary to invent the wheel again or, rip everything apart and rebuild it. So when I read this plan, I would think that it's more a matter of tweaking it and just making sure that the 5 directions are still appropriate and flushed out perhaps as they should be. So can you comment on that? What do you think so far is the idea of renewing the strategic plan and the 5 directions? Is it that, or are you looking at a total rebuild? Because it seems to be working.
Through the chair to Councillor Hobbs, yes, we have a very robust art strategy. It was the result of about 18 months of work, working with many hundreds of community members' input. We feel we have a solid strategy. It served us very well. So we aren't planning to rebuild the whole thing, but it is time to update it. We are doing some community engagement. We have roundtables, et cetera, and we want to make sure that it is consistent with the existing context, post-COVID, et cetera. And the city also has a number of new strategies and plans that have come into place, new programs and things. So we want to make sure our strategy is aligned with the current context of Richmond. So yeah, we'll be coming back to you with a draft updated strategy later this year.
Thanks very much. I'm sure it'll be excellent. Thank you.
Councillor Wolf, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. My question through the chair to staff comes from the most recent mock trial from the Youth Engagement Program. And one of the groups of students, they kind of focused on art, possible art in the city. And the location that they identified was the Canada Line itself, like the cement structure above ground. I know in the video there it included like the wrapping art along the columns, but I just wonder what's the difference between the city doing art on wrapped columns versus art directly on the concrete?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the number 3 road art columns are they are specifically backlit, large-scale artworks that get installed twice a year. We have 3 of these columns located at Lansdowne at Aberdeen Centre. And then we also have the Art Wrap program where we're putting things on utility boxes and the like. And we work with our Richmond artist roster to choose artists for those opportunities. I'm not familiar with the youth engagement program, the mock trial that you're describing, but I'm sure we'd be interested to learn more. I am aware that there are specific rules with transit in terms of what we're allowed to put on the structures. So, but we're certainly open to looking at ideas with youth anytime.
Okay, great. Just to follow up then on that, all of council got a thick package of all the different visual presentations, so that can get forwarded to you. And then, so I was also, I guess, just wondering, what is there like special permission? So if the city wants to do some of that backlit column wrapping, does it have to get, like, the city plans it all out and then it has to get a stamp of approval from TransLink before it gets put on? Is that the case? And then also, I know the mural program has found all sorts of places to put murals. Are we not allowed to include mural locations such as the concrete of the SkyTrain structure?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the number 3 road art columns, they are operated by the city. So we don't have to get special permission. That permission was received many years ago when those structures were installed. So we're good there. For actually painting murals on, say, the structures of the of Canada Line, we would certainly need to look into special permission for that from the Canada Line for any kind of project like that.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And I'll get you that copy of the presentation forwarded to you. Thanks.
Good. Laura?
Thank you, through the chair, and thanks for the report. It's just an awesome thing to see every year, and everything that we do in every corner of the city in all different medias and forms. I just want to know, are we going to be showing this at the next council meeting?
Through the chair and Councillor Galanders, absolutely, yes.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yes. I have a comment and a question. The comment is on page 9 of the report, or page 3 of the report, the PRCS page 9. The first bullet talks about the Richmond Cultural Center Annex. I just want to say that, of course, I'm very delighted with this new addition. However, in the middle of the paragraph, it's mentioned that this is the first significant arts facility investment in Richmond in more than 30 years. I think we should have done better. But anyhow, I'm happy that, we got this new addition. Now, my question is, on PRCS 24, you talk about this Cultural Center Annex. I want to ask a question about the usage, or, what has been the impact since its opening. So with this addition, what more have you done?
Oh, well, we are offering so many more programs. Our registrations have, I don't have the percentage on me. I wish I did. I can get back to you on exactly how many more, but we've certainly increased not just the number of programs, but also the types of programs. So these spaces have allowed us to be much more creative and do more of our programmers' wish lists of the types of things we want to offer people as well.
Right. So can you see that this space is fully utilized?
Fully utilized? Well, I would say as fully utilized as we can do at this moment. I mean, we're always looking for ways to bring in more people during the less busy hours. So we're looking at ways to partner with other organizations that may want to use it during our lower times. I mean, certainly evenings and weekends are more popular for obvious reasons, but yes.
Good, thank you. Okay, so there's a staff recommendation. Madam?
Could you just provide direction to show the video at council? Generally, we do, but we're generally asked to bring it to council to show.
Okay, so, so there's a recommendation, and then we also add that we would have the video in the next council meeting. Okay, so can I move her? Second, so call a question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carried. Moving on to item number 2, arrival of the Titanium mural proposed relocation options.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Here to present the report. Nothing to add, and happy to answer any questions.
Carol?
Councillor.
No, you were first.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the report. It's a very important mural, extreme significance historically. On page 82, you mentioned that the Season Harbor Authority have indicated they would support the painting of the mural on both locations or on their property. Are they okay with both locations? They haven't indicated a preference for option 1 or option 2?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, no, they're happy with either one.
Okay, good. And then my next question or comment I wanted to make was option 1 is in location on the side of a bathroom wall by 3rd Avenue and Bayview, but the mural would only be 5 feet by 14 feet, which is much smaller than the current size. And then option 2, Fisherman's Storage Building on 6th Avenue, the mural would be 10 feet by 21 feet. And that's why it goes from $20,000 to $30,000. It says under option 2, that John Horgan, the artist who originally painted, is in full support of the mural replicated under option 2. But is he in full support of option 1?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, apologize for the formatting. This is for both options. He's happy that those recommendations are coming to council.
Okay, and then under option 1, it's close to the entry point of the Fisher Walk and I can't say that word, walking tour. And I was part of the Stevenson Harbor Authority committee that made a decision on the walking tour artwork. It's kind of fun and funky and informative, which is quite different from the mural, which is very replica of what things look like. It's very realistic. So I'm just wondering what you think about kind of those conflicting ways of doing it, whereas Fisher's Walk is more funky and fun, and there's pictures of cartoony boats, and this is almost a photograph. So what are your thoughts on that?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, I'm familiar with the Fisher's Walk in part, but knowing what I know about it, it's more informative. Like you said, it's more punchy, kind of. It's going to invite people to come into the area, but it will work in concert with the public art that's already in the area. So there are other murals that inform the history of the site that will be in addition to the Fisher's Walk programming that will happen along the area. So there are different types of artworks that are going to inform the public realm of that area.
So I'm wondering if, because they are quite different, and I wonder if we shouldn't have an interpretive map where people who are interested in the more realistic pieces of art, which we have many of in Steveston now, especially on Steveston Harbor Authority lands, have some amazing, amazing pictures of everything from fish to whales to everything. I look at it as together but separate, and rather than confuse the public, I wonder if we shouldn't have information about where you can see the other realistic murals.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we can certainly speak to the organizers of the Fisher's Walk to see how these two programs can be folded into their signage and brochures and other marketing material that they have about the program.
Okay, just a suggestion, when this goes to council, I think there should be examples of what Fisher's Walk looks like. Thank you.
Laura?
Thank you through the chair. Thank you for this. Thank you for coming back to it so quickly. We were all pretty passionate about finding a location, and I appreciate it. And thank goodness, just very grateful for the Steveston Harbor Authority for having the buildings and being so cooperative. And that's great. And I just want to understand, so option 1 and option 2. So if I didn't know the locations, I would definitely prefer option 2, because I just think that the mural, without anything else around it, just really stands out, and it's the ideal type of building and size for it. And it would almost be like just kind of a magical little find that you come across when you decide to take that road on your walk. So that can make it very special. I just want to confirm that the reason why option 1 is recommended is simply because it's going to get more foot traffic and possibly more visibility. But I also, that's true, right? Yeah, but then I also agree with Councillor Day, there'll be so much else going on there that it almost gets lost. So it's not a perfect solution, but at the same time, I think I can support option 1, and in 10 years, then maybe there's another building on that walk that we go between the cannery and Gary Point. Maybe one of those murals is going to need replacing, and then we swap it out and put this one there and move a fish one over to the washrooms or something. So at least it gets it up, and then every 10 years we revisit it. So I could support option 1. Yeah. Thank you.
You?
Yeah, thanks very much. Great report. Just a quick question on the finances. What other pots of money did you look for? Council contingency usually is for council to recommend that the funds come from council. So what other pots did you look for?
was the first mural funded through the council contingency or?
It was funded through the original mural was funded through the public art program as part of the Canada 150 program that council approved.
Right. So I, through the chair to Councillor McNulty, when we were looking at options, this is a council-initiated project and the direction came from council. Our public art budget for the year is already established. We do that as part of the operating budget process, as part of the budget process. So just discussing options with our colleagues in finance, this was the recommended option.
Well, I'm not happy with that option. I suggest that we go back to the Development Art Fund with money from the developers. Right now, we don't put enough money into the arts. We're sloughing it off into a fund that is a council fund, $100,000 a year, et cetera. It's not the money, so it's where it comes from. It doesn't show an increase in the need to the arts, is what I'm getting at, Mr. Chair, is, yeah, we're gonna get this, et cetera. We should have $100,000 in the mural fund, okay, per year or more. We don't. We have 30,000, okay? So it's very difficult for council to ask for more money if it's all taken care of and we put it here. And to me, there's not enough money in there. And I'd like to see it come out of the surplus or appropriate fund, and a recommendation that we, for murals in general, and it was pointed out, we maybe have a mural on the storage building. Another mural, we don't have any money for this year. If we had $100,000 in the kitty, we could have a mural there. We could have murals all over the city, which we should be doing, and we're not putting enough money into the arts. So my question is not take it from council contingency, but go back in the development fund, take it. Every developer puts money into kitty. It must be $500,000 in there as well on it, and if not, the surplus. And we put a recall in that we make sure that we increase the mural budget for next year so that we can do more in the arts area, et cetera, and that would be our call on what we do, because I think people are enjoying the murals, and like I said, we don't put enough money into the arts. You saw what the report was and all the things we're doing. And I think this is just a time when we're doing something like this. It's a small amount, but there's a principle involved here where we should be saying we are going to buck up to the arts or we're not going to buck up to the arts. So I make that motion after when we come where the money comes from, and also put a request in next year for a large increase into the mural fund.
Okay, good. Councillor Wolf, you got a question?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to staff, first question is, I don't have it in front of me right now, but what was the cost estimate to put back the mural in its current location?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, that was just once. I believe it was 30,000 also.
Yeah. Okay.
Between 25,000 and 30,000.
Okay. Thank you. Just a couple of comments then. I was adamant that that's where it should be. And I think looking at the cost estimates for these two locations, it's not like it's a lot more, a lot less, like it's in the ballpark range. And even though that's without the owner of the building doing anything to support it funding wise. So I won't be supporting this item as it stands for two reasons. One is I still think the number one option should be back where it is. Both of these options are okay in my mind. And then the second reason I don't support it is the funding source, like Councillor McNulty was highlighting. I also think that whenever a development happens and there's money contributed for public art in lieu of them putting it in place, that pool of money should be where this comes from. But I also support the idea there of Councillor McNulty adding more to the mural fund for next year, and then addressing this mural at that time. So it might mean there's a time without the mural, but also maybe the Stephen Hotel will change ownership by that point, and maybe the new owners will appreciate it and want it on their building. So I won't be supporting this. Thanks.
No, before I go to Laura, I want to speak on this item as well. I am not in support of option one for 3 reasons. First, I feel odd that we have such a significant piece of artwork on the wall of a washroom. Okay, feeling wise, it's not good. Second, I think it's too small. I think we should be, it's a very significant piece of artwork. I think it should be bigger. And third, I'm not in support of the idea that we have everything in the center area. I think perhaps, we can spread it more around, and perhaps, by having it on option 2, the site of option 2, actually we're attracting people going to another area, so which is going to make the whole area more alive. So personally speaking, I would support option 2. Okay, Laura?
Thanks. I'm really relieved that you said that, because I didn't want to go against staff decision. I could see, or staff's recommendation, I could see the benefit, but it also just doesn't feel quite right for such a magnificent piece to be there. Just even the way the shade is on the building right now in that photo, it's like you can see it just getting lost. And I think there's nothing on this other building, and people do take circuits all around, and it might not get as much traffic, but it might get more visibility just because it's the only thing, and it would really stand out and be spectacular on there. So I will support the option 2 as well. And what I was thinking is, with what Councillor McNulty was saying and Councillor Wolf, if, votes against this, it'll be off the consent agenda anyway, and we could have a further discussion about it at council. Could we ask staff to come up with, send a memo out before the council meeting with alternative funding ideas, so out of the DCCs, and with a recommendation to add more to the mural program out of DCCs, because that's public art could be allocated to that, et cetera, or do we do that right now? Okay.
I'm going to make 2 motions.
Okay. Now, so, Laura, are you going to move the motion that we, in terms of location, option 2?
Yeah, I'll move that, option 2, sure.
Okay, so location, right? We're not talking about the money yet, okay? So just the location, the motion is that we choose, or we prefer, option 2. Okay, move. Second? No?
Okay. He is supposed to.
Okay, can I second that?
You can second it.
I second, okay, I'll second it. Okay. So any further discussion? Okay. Andy?
Well, I think Carol's mic is fine.
No, that's okay.
No. Okay, thanks through the chair. Well, wasn't particularly on this motion because I pressed my button before the motion was made. But the option that is in the report, option 1, I did support it. I don't have any huge opposition to the second location, but I do like this location because it is in the busier area. It's also closer to the original location of the artwork, if you talk about people looking for it or wanting to see it. And I think the size is reasonable. I'm not too worried about what kind of building it's on, because whether it's a public washroom building or a concession versus a storage building, I don't see a large distinction there in the quality of building that it's on. But I also have a bit of an issue with putting it back on the hotel building, just because of, I guess, the owner's lack of interest in having it there. And I don't feel that we should be doing that without some kind of more overt support by the owner of the building. And I have looked very closely at it, and it does need to be taken down and repaired. The whole wall is falling apart. The other part that I'm interested in is Councillor McNulty's comments about the funding source, and I agree that if there's another funding source, for instance, the arts program, what the balance is in there and why we wouldn't be taking this money from there. So those are my comments, but I'll be supporting option 1 in terms of the location, and then I'll see what the other motions are. Thanks.
Okay, Carol?
Yeah, thank you very much. I had a question of staff. So Councillor Wolf did point out that the previous location on the Steeson Hotel was ideal because of the visibility and everything. Given, I'm trying to find the story, but I did read this morning that the Richmond News reported that the Buccaneer pub is closing in the spring, so pretty soon. But I understand that the restaurant will stay open. Does that in any way affect that location? Because if they're going to shut down and rebuild into, they talked about 5 suites, would that in any way affect the mural if for some reason it was decided to put it back where it was?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, the mural is located in a different part of the building. It's facing south. I don't believe it will be affected. I can't really speak specifically to that, but it hasn't really been affected so far.
Yeah, I am concerned that you're probably going to see a major renovation. I've already applied for permits and applied for variances from, the heritage status. So option 2 is a good location in my mind for a number of reasons. Number one, it's not so close to the entrance of Fisher's Walk, which I do feel is apples and oranges. It's not the same situation. Second point is that it's the right size in the other location. And I do feel that lowering the size to almost half the size is not respectful of this very important piece of art. Now, having said that, if we are going to put it in a slightly more remote location, I think we should have signs indicating moved, to the new locations, because there will be people that look for it, and the old location, paint it over, make it gray, and then, the mural has been moved to a brand-new location on, I think it was 6th Avenue and whatever, because people are going to look for it. They love taking the picture in front of it, that kind of thing. So I'm not on the committee, so I can't vote, but I do think that going with option 2 is a better option, although I would prefer it stayed where it was, but I'm not sure that that's practical. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table regarding the location. Oh, yeah.
I just want to make a quick comment following the discussion. I think we got to look to the future. I think Councilman Hornswoggled, and I guess I was the only one who voted against the development of Steveston.
I voted against it.
Two of us.
I'm Council.
Oh, good, thank you. Okay. Read between the lines. The Steveston Hotel is not going to be the Steveston Hotel. There are 5 suites going now. There are probably another 5 coming. You don't even know about it, et cetera. And there's going to be no Steveston Hotel. So to have the mural on the back, yes, we'd love to have it. It was wonderful to have it there. Thanks staff and everybody and John and everything and having it. But it's gone. And I think we got to face the fact it's gone. And it's not going to go back there. So even though we emotionally would like it. So I just want to make that comment on it. I think we're fooling ourselves by thinking of it. We're going to have an expanded cafe. Well, I have breakfast there every Sunday, and I'll tell you all, we can get us 30 people in the place, and it's not going to get expanded like it was promised, because there's nowhere to go other than the sidewalk. And it's cold and wet out there on a Sunday morning. Okay, come on, have breakfast. You gotta buy your breakfast. Okay, so let's face the fact on it, and but I am going to support option 1, but I do have a recommendation for the funding of it. I'd like just to vote on 1 or 2. Okay?
Option 2 is on the floor.
Option 2 is on the floor. Call the question.
Yep, so option 2 is on the floor. Okay.
Question.
Marie?
Mr. Chair, if I could just speak to the options, just to clarify, the formatting of our report, we say recommended, not recommended. From staff's perspective, we think these are both very good options. We tried to articulate the relative strengths of both options, but we started with probably dozens of options and narrowed down to these 2. So they are both good options from our perspective.
Okay, good. So let's call the question on the option 2. Okay, so those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed, okay, motion defeated. So do I have a mover for option 1?
So moved.
Move, seconded. Any further discussion? Call the question, those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed, okay. Carry, Councillor Wolf opposed. Okay, good. Now, then we going to talk about the finance. Okay.
I'd like to have a motion that the finances for the option be considered taken out of other development art fund, we'll call it whatever, and or surplus. And that committee ask council or ask staff to examine the mural budget with the idea of having it increased threefold for the 26th season.
Is it second? Second?
I just have a question.
Okay. No, I want to ask staff first. So the motion suggests to find money elsewhere, right? So could that be done? Do we have other source of funding to support this?
Yes, I think what we'll do is we'll bring a memo back before council with some other options.
It's there, sitting there waiting for you.
No, I just want to make sure to confirm, okay?
Sometimes you gotta show them where the money is. I know where the money is.
Laura?
Thank you. Just a quick question about that, if staff were to examine the mural budget and request to add money to the mural budget, since we've already passed our operating budget, would we?
Next year.
It would be for next year. Okay, gotcha. And then I'm like, what's the difference? We have to take it out of contingency just to cover that. That makes sense for next year. Okay. Looking forward to seeing the different funding sources. Thank you.
Any further comments? Seeing none, call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Michael doesn't make. Okay. Manager's report. I thought.
Through the chair to committee, we want to update you on an upcoming comprehensive public engagement process to identify the level of support for a potential memorial garden. The upcoming memorial garden engagement process will make a concerted effort to maximize accessibility and participation. We're running it for an extended 6-week period, anticipated late April to mid-June, highlighted by 4 in-person drop-in style open houses. Unique will be, these will be presented both in English and traditional Chinese, and staff with proficiency in Mandarin and Cantonese will attend these sessions to assist with the process. Additionally, a Let's Talk Richmond project page will be open for the entire duration of this, and the online survey and project page will be available in 14 different languages, and hard copy surveys will be both in English and traditional Chinese. As usual, this will be communicated through many online engagement opportunities, as typical with most of our engagement processes. And then lastly, upon the completion of the survey findings, we'll be bringing back a report to council with those findings and discuss next steps.
Any questions? Carol?
Thank you very much for that. And this is the reason we need a reader board in front of City Hall, so that people driving by, just like they drive by South Arm or the other community centers, can see what's happening. Because how many people will pay attention to going on to Let's Talk Richmond or the online engagement? So just putting it out there. Secondly, will there be a component of this that asks the public whether this should be publicly funded or a private enterprise?
Through the chair, to answer your first piece, we can take that under advisement. We'll do our typical announcement press release for the process. Regarding funding, et cetera, we will not get into that detail. That's really a closed agenda item. We will be going into quite lengthy detail to get an understanding from the public on their interest, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I do believe we shouldn't be in the business. This is like Richmond Memorial, Richmond Funeral Home, you know, they're a business. They take care of that part of the needs for the people of Richmond. So I'm concerned about using public land for something like this. And I'm glad that we're going to be putting it out to the public to see if there are interested parties that would like to take this on, like they do in every other city. So thank you.
Okay, Laura?
Thank you, through the chair. Thanks for this update. I was curious, in the past, have we done a public engagement process before, asking the public in Richmond if they want a memorial garden? Or where did the idea for the need of a memorial garden come about, and what kind of was the general consensus the last time we asked about it? I'm just curious.
I'll defer to my associate here to come up and answer that.
Through the chair to Councillor Galanders, it was well before my time, but goes back about 20 years to when we last had a really extensive public engagement process on this. Since that time, there have been a number of steps in the planning process, but it's been about that 20-year duration since our last public engagement.
That's really interesting, yeah. It's good that we're going to be doing it again, because so much time has passed and so much has changed, so we might learn a lot more about what the public wants and have a better idea of it, so that's great. Oh, and my other question is, will we need to direct staff to get this on the agenda for the council meeting so that we can announce it then as well under announcements, or it would just be under the consent agenda, engagement process, Memorial Garden coming soon kind of thing?
Yes, we will.
Okay. But just to get more discussion, more, buzz going about it.
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, typically that would fall underneath the mayor's announcement page on upcoming events. We can highlight it there.
Perfect. That's fine.
You?
Yeah, the original, I guess for your information, long before your time, probably before you were born, it came because Mr. Ken Mann and the consortium with Alan D. Genova, Vancouver, owned 33 acres at number 4 Road and Stephenson Highway, and they wanted to develop it, and they were willing to donate a memorial garden if we would let them have some other amenities in there. That's how it came about. They brought the proposal forward. It's on record. You can see it. Before we go, and as soon as you take this to the public, they're going to assume we're doing it. And I think I'd like to see 10 questions or 5 questions that you're going to ask. And my question to you as a citizen, why are you doing this? Why are you bringing this forward? Are we having a public garden? Oh, Richmond's going to build a public garden, a memorial garden. So now I already know you're building one, or you're going to consider it. So I guess my question is, that's why I think it's public. I think we have to ask the public, do you want it? Okay? And if you want it, I think you need to ask what faith they are as well, and the kind of public gardens we're talking about before we even go anywhere. Okay? And if you want it, how do you see this? And are you prepared to increase your taxes so that we can have a public garden somewhere, okay? Or where should it be? Let them come out with it. Because I think soon as we go and we start addressing some of these things, we don't know how it would run, private or public, whatever. We're not going to go to ALR. We've already stated we're not touching the ALR lands. So now you're limited, well, we can put it out or whatever, et cetera. And is one of the questions, given your faith, could we have a memorial gardens on your site of worship? It's a question we should ask them, okay? Like Gilmore Gardens, you go into the garden there, there's a cairn there where you can go put your ashes up top, et cetera. We have one, and I'm sure, I don't know, I don't, others, I know a couple of others, but those are I'd like to see before we bring this forward to council, the questions that we're going to ask the public, so we're aware of them as well. Because there'll be groups that lobby us, et cetera, and to put it on there, okay? And we won't refer to land or any of that. We won't refer to governance other than, is it private? Is somebody prepared to do it? We've had that. And what are we prepared to do? But because you've hit it spot on page 18, you've got all the information there in the public engagement. The number of languages we're going to go to, the people we're going to go to, and everybody, and the increasing diversity that's coming to Richmond. Richmond is not all Chinese and Caucasian. Okay, wake up. There's 216 or 18 languages in the schools, et cetera. You folks know, we've all been trustees, and everyone is different. So, and who can we? So anyhow, I put that, and thank you for the verbal report in public, because I think it's important that we ask some loaded questions, but let's see what the feeling is, and also the people that are already looking at the memorial sites, wherever they are they doing an adequate job, and should we continue to do that? So with that.
Yeah, I would like to speak to that as well. I share the same feeling. I'm sure that, this topic would generate a lot of interest and a lot of speculations and interpretations. So I'm mindful of, what kind of background information that we would give out, what type of questions that we would ask, before, we go public. So I don't know if there's a chance that we can discuss the questions and the approach before we actually implement it. I think it's okay that we have the intention of doing that, but can we have further thoughts and discussions before, it goes out to the public?
Through the chair, to the chair, I'll pipe in here first, then I'll pass it over to Elizabeth. We are working with a cemetery specialist in this field who has worked with a number of communities, agencies in the past. To all your questions, we're very aware of that. We have a very strong diversity within our community, a lot of varying religions, expectations, needs, wants, etc. So all the questions that will be part of this process will be to probe those and get those questions and answers to really help decide, one, is there interest? Do people want a memorial garden? If so, what expectations do they have? What wants, needs, etc. do they have? So that is very much in our mind and awareness, and that is very much in the questions that we'll be asking back to the community.
Can we see those questions before they go up? Can we have a memo to see those questions? Because we're going to get lobbied, no end. It's going to be, this is a big one. I'll leave it at that. I'd like to see it.
Sure.
I'm not saying they're wrong or
Yeah.
anything like that,
Yeah.
but we need to be aware that we're going to get bent.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor McNulty, we can certainly share that information in advance of it going out and leave a period of time for comment.
Good. Carol, you got some comments?
Yeah, absolutely. This has to be part of the public process. I can't vote on this because I don't belong to this committee. I think all the members of council should have the opportunity to approve the survey before it goes out to the public. Because if it looks like, as Councillor McNulty put it, yeah, the city's going to build this for you, isn't this wonderful? You're going to get a different kind of response than if you make it clear, this may be a private ownership, maybe a church-based. I've also been to Gilmer Gardens, and they have a lovely wall where you can have your ashes put in. So, I mean, this is a really big issue, and culturally, this can be a really sticky point for a lot of people. Like, well, one group completely 100% support, the next group won't. So I think this should be added to the agenda on Monday's council meeting, and I realize there's things that are probably of a closed nature that can't go on that, but most of this, as I read this report, can be an open, and I think all of council should have the opportunity to approve the questions, approve the survey, so that we don't end up with egg on our face down the road when we go, whoa, we didn't know that's what they were going to ask. So that's just my request. I'll leave it up to the council, the Parks Committee to make a decision.
So at this point, I think perhaps, we can stop here, on this topic. And if the mayor wants to have this in the public agenda next week, on the council meeting, I think he can make that decision. Right? Okay. Because we're doing a manager's report. Okay.
I think you need a motion to have it on the agenda. To Mayor Brody mentioning it under updates and, public announcements doesn't really cut it.
Are we ready for that? Let's see what staff come back with.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. I think we just leave it here. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
I have a question if there's, on a different item.
Michael.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, sorry, just to jump in here, sorry, I'm not there in person to ask this, but the city, the Pollock Park, which is one of the city's parks, there was going to be an event, an invasive species training and removal back on March 8th. It got canceled. It was raining heavily. I was there anyway with my daughter, but I guess we were the only ones who showed up in the rain. So I'm just curious what the city's role was in that. Was it just Richmond Garden Club, or did the city actually have a role in the training and actual removal of invasive species in our parks? Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone on staff can address that.
Todd.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes, staff were engaged in that event, and as you mentioned, unfortunately, due to the deluge, it was canceled. We are looking to reschedule that. I don't have the details yet as to when.
Okay, thanks. Then, yeah, I'd like to know when the details are available. Because it was canceled, we went from there to Terra Nova Park and another city park. and found English ivy growing in all of them, up mature trees. So it definitely needs to be addressed in our parks, and I haven't seen it happening. So I'm just flagging it for attention again. Thanks.
Good. Jason?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Just a very quick manager update on the Lansdowne Park open space master plan. The city is developing a Lansdowne Parks and Open Space Master Plan to guide the development of the future park spaces as part of the Lansdowne Shopping Center redevelopment project. The public engagement campaign for the park master plan has started on Monday, March 10th, and the public has been invited to provide input until Sunday, April 13th. As part of the public engagement process, staff has hosted 3 public open houses to engage with the public and receive feedback, with the last one at Richmond Cultural Center last Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All these events were hugely successful, with many members of the public participating. Our online engagement platform will continue to be open to receive public feedback at letstalkwishmond.ca/Lansdowne Parks until April 13. After the public engagement campaign closes, staff will analyze all received inputs on the park master plan options, develop a recommended Lansdowne Park master plan, and report back to council after the summer. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Adjourn.
Move. Okay, so we adjourn. Thank you very much.
Okay. All righty. Oh, we've got this unveiling on Thursday for Jim Wing. It's the same.